there, my name is PolishLynx and welcome to another visual novel. This time it's Broken Sky, created by Lunaen, and we've already been playing a game from that studio. Let us start this one as well. Bye! And don't stay too long, you know it will get dangerous soon. See ya, and don't worry mom, I'll just visit some of my favorite places and then I'll go too. I waved farewell to mom and the rest, and they slowly started to enter the car. To tell the truth, I had hoped that I wouldn't have to leave, but it looks like time ran out. It's been quite a long time since people colonized this planet. Originally, it was supposed to be just an observation station for watching unique changes in the sun that might indicate an impending explosion, but soon a mining station was built on the same spot, and before anyone realized it, the planet was green with grass and trees, so it's possible for us to colonize some planets. Can you believe it? Rivers were flowing and new life flourished everywhere, but I wonder when this actually happened. And so, Erin became home to people. Just one world out of many, but it was the only one for me, because I was born here. Our shield's technology was gradually getting better and better, and was prolonging the time we could stay here despite the changes our local sun was undergoing. Until the last moment, we had hoped that we would be able to stay here. But it looks like we have reached the limit, and the time when we would no longer be able to live here safely is slowly approaching. The shields around this planet are strong, and we'll be able to protect this place for a long time, even after no one is left here, but our ships cannot hold such strong ones. And so, some time ago, an evacuation was started. Almost nobody is left here now, and in a few hours there will be no one left on this planet. On the sky will still flow clouds, and rain shall fall still from them, but there will be no one to see the rainbow that will appear. Once again, and for the last time, I waved my hand at mom and the rest, and then I slowly walked into the house. I climbed the stairs up to my room. On the ground lay my bag filled with food and drinks and some other infinitesimals. I left them there for now and went to the window to scan the scenery. I saw meadows and forests, the same ones that I saw every morning, but they looked somewhat different today. I saw the greenish sky, which was scarred colorfully, where the shields were heavily stressed while they were balancing the unequal load. A few birds flew by, a rather rare event because there never was a lot of them. The same is true for other animals. Except maybe for cats, there are quite a few of them there here. But people took most of them away when we began to evacuate this planet. Interesting. I still never had a cat. It was always a dog. Or two. And someone free. I forced myself away from the window, put a few things for the last time into my bag and went outside. It's time to say goodbye. This is why I stayed a while longer than the rest. I couldn't imagine just leaving this place so suddenly when I had spent my entire life here. After all, 22 years is quite a long time, and I really like it here. Which place should I visit first? I guess it would be best to start with the closest one. Slowly, I started to walk towards the local playground. Okay, well I have... yeah, my local playground is close to. For I never used it, because I moved here, well, not so long ago, for I was 16 I think, already. I wasn't its most frequent visitor, but despite this, I still had a lot of memories bound to it which ran through my head at that moment. Scratch knees, children's games, and victories as well as losses in them, sadness when I couldn't go out because I was ill, as well as happiness from my first kiss. I smiled at all this. In front of me, the playground where I used to play football as a little kid slowly emerged. I leaned my body against the fence and could almost see all the matches taking place in front of me. Suddenly, I heard a rattling just outside of the playground. I turned my head and saw a girl sitting by herself on a swing and dreamily looking in front of her. Suddenly, as if she realized she wasn't alone anymore, she turned her head in my direction and said with a smile, "Hello!" "Hi," I replied, and tried to remember if I knew her from somewhere. She seemed familiar to me, as if I'd known her my whole life, and yet it was also as if I'd never seen her before. In the end, I gave up, sat on the swing beside her, and introduced myself. "I'm Irene," she replied and began to look forward. And I thought I knew all the girls from around here. Irene just laughed, jumped onto her feet, and ran to the slide. Do you think you can fit in?" I asked as she was starting to climb on. "Yes, she can!" "Of course she can." "Are you trying to say that I'm fat?" She laughed with a grin and climbed up. I looked at her a little more carefully and then laughed. "Not little, but I think the slide was built for kids much younger than we too." "For she looks young." "Well, that's possible." Irene slid down. "But it looks like it's big enough even for kids as old as we are." Irene dusted her clothes and turned to me. "Did you come to say farewell too?" "You can say so." I slowly got up. "Would you mind if I joined you for a while?" she asked. "Well, why not? Maybe it will be more interesting." I tried to climb the slide too. It was bigger than I thought. A moment later I was dusting my clothes just like Irene was a while ago. "Why we don't play something while we're here?" I proposed. "Gladly," laughed Irene. And so we played catch, hide and seek, just like little kids. The both of us had a lot of fun. In the end, I stopped, breathless. "I think it's time to move on." "Okay," Irene came running to me. "Where will we go?" I shrugged and waved my hands towards the fields. We slowly began to walk in that direction. "Why did you come to say farewell here? Did you once live here or something like that?" As we were walking around the still green grass. Irene paused for a moment. "Let's just say I like it around here. Even though I can't say I had a chance to enjoy it around here much, I still like this place." "So I decided to say farewell here." She crouched down at the border of the road, picked up a dandelion there, and placed it in her hair. It was odd, walking down this road and possibly being the last two people on the whole planet. After a while she managed to adjust it to her liking, and she turned to face me. "What do you think?" "It's cute!" "Of course it's cute." That's the answer. That's the answer you have to give in a situation like that. Remember, that's a very important thing. Cute is very often the answer. The dandelion was shining her like a little sun. "You look nice." "Not bad." "No, you look nice." Okay. For a while Irene looked as if she was thinking if she should be satisfied with the answer, but in the end she just smiled and continued to walk. Let's do something like that. What if I do this? Yeah. I knew it! I knew it! This would be a better answer. Okay. Slowly we climbed the small hill, and just beyond us appeared the vision of a beautiful yellow sunflower field. "It's gorgeous," said Irene beside me. For a moment we stopped and just enjoyed watching it, and then we started to descend the hill, which was surrounded with a yellow sleigh from both sides. Irene started to hum some song. It's strange, it's almost as if we knew each other from an indefinitely long time ago, but at the same time, I don't remember ever meeting her before. I might have a clue what this might actually be about, but I won't say it yet. But that's probably just because today is a special day and we both came to say farewell to a place that was our home for such a long time. What was that song? I asked Arin when she stopped humming. She thought for a while. I actually don't remember. It's been quite some time since I learned it. Too bad. It sounded nice to me. We continued to walk down the road while enjoying the scent of the flowers. Who knows how many times I've walked this road before, be it with friends or just alone to take a walk. The memories that floated back brought a nostalgic feeling with them and even more reminded me of all the things I went through here. But it wasn't a bad feeling, because I had a lot of fun back then. Well, there were sad times too, like the time when I broke up with my first and only love. Maybe that's her fault, that was not my fault. But all that together gave this place an irreplaceable atmosphere. The field slowly changed into a vast meadow. Just then I bent down and moved my fingers through the grass. It felt nice. So, which way we will go now? Asked an interested Erin. Instead of answering, I just pointed with my hand to a tree that was standing alone in the meadow since some distance from us. We approached it slowly, and Erin once again started to hum the song she was humming before. This time I listened to its melody more carefully. Somehow, it reminded me of this whole planet. Well, and here you have a little bit of a help what I might be thinking. As if it could be heard in the rustling of the grass. As if it could be felt in the breeze around us. Simply as if it always belonged here. The girl might be creation of this planet somehow. That's my feeling. We'll see. I threw off a straw of grass and put it in my mouth. Eventually Erin's humming ended. We continued to walk and around us the grass was rustling in the breeze. We were pretty close to the tree when Erin... What? We were pretty close to the tree when Erin suddenly stopped and pointed in front of her. Look! I stopped and saw a cat basking in the sun, just a little bit ahead of us, lying on the grass. I knew her. That cat! From time to time you could see her around the neighborhood, even though every time anyone tried to get closer to her, she ran away. She was one of the wild cats living here. As children, we used to leave something to eat for her here. I'm not sure if she ate it, but obviously she wasn't starving. Do you think I could pet her? Asked Erin with an interested voice. You can give it a try, but she'll probably get scared and run away. Well, we'll see, smiled Erin as she carefully approached it. The cat was looking suspiciously at Erin, but in the end, she let her get close. It was almost as if these two knew each other already. Erin patted her, not very confidently at first, but when the cat didn't have anything against it, she continued with obvious happiness. You really must love cats, I noted with a smile. Well, maybe just that the cat's like me, answered the happy Erin as she continued to pat the cat. We stayed a while longer, and later on, even I managed to pat the cat, even though she looked much more suspiciously at me. I guess that today is really a special day. Eventually, we left the cat there and walked the remaining way to the tree, which was standing there alone. It was said that this was the oldest tree on the whole planet, and judging by its size, it could be very well true. We sat there and leaned against the trunk. I started to unpack the food. Would you like some too? I offered to Erin, and she didn't have any food with her. She nodded with a hungry look. It's good that I packed so much food. Erin started to eat with such an appetite that I couldn't resist and started to laugh. You must be really hungry. So good, I replied Erin with a full mouth. I just didn't eat much earlier today. I shook my shoulders, took out a drink and started to eat too. After we finished our food, we just stretched out on the grass and looked at the sky. On it, clouds were slowly flowing and adding to the cozy atmosphere. There's nothing better after eating than just to lie and rest. And watching the sky is great, added Arin. So we just lay there doing nothing and it felt nice. Eventually I sat up and stretched myself. Well, it's time to move on. Groaned Arin, obviously not wanting to get up. If you don't want to go, you are free to stay here. I stood up and picked up my bag. Really? Asked Arin with hope in her voice. Yep, I will just go on without you, I pretended to threaten her. I thought so, at least help me to get up. She reached out her hand towards me. I took her hand and lifted her. Arin got up and while she was dusting herself off, I looked around. The cat we petted before wasn't there anymore. Well, I'm ready, we can hit the road, said Arin. And as a matter of fact, where should we go now? Okay. And as a matter of fact, where should we go now? She wondered. This way, to the forest. I pointed with my hand. There is a nice place there where I used to spend a lot of time. That will take some time, I guess. About 2 hours, that is, if we won't be traveling fast. Damn, I think I slept very badly today, because my eyes literally closed. We have plenty of time after all. And so we slowly continued our journey. We talked about random things and our trek was a pleasant one. I wouldn't have guessed that we were walking for already an hour when we got to the edge of the forest. Shortly after we entered it, a drop of water fell on me. I looked up. Without me noticing it, it had gotten cloudy. It looks like we will get wet. Arin stopped for a second. Maybe we won't. She grabbed my hand and started to pull me behind her. Then I realized it. I almost forgot about it. But when we were little kids, we found a cave nearby and played there a few times. But it was quite far for us, so we soon stopped going there. And now, thanks to Arin, I remembered it. We arrived at the cave in the last moment. As soon as we got inside, it started raining cats and dogs. It was apparently one of those showers that quickly come and are strong but don't last too long. It looks like we made it in time, said Arin breathlessly. Good thing I remember this place. Yeah, otherwise we would have gotten drenched to the bone, I replied breathlessly too. Even though I looked at her. You were thinking something about me in this wet dress, am I right? Asked Arin with a laugh. Well, it's so true. I gave up in the end. I thought so. She laughed and then added, well, maybe some other time. Well, we might not get another chance though. Whoa, didn't expect that. Right, replied Arin, and it appeared to me as if there was a flash of sadness in her eyes. Then suddenly she grabbed my hand. Sorry, but... She didn't finish her sentence. Surprised, I looked into her eyes, and for a moment it looked as if there was fear in them. But then the expression in her eyes calmed and I realized how beautiful they were. Suddenly something ran around us and startled us both. Then I realized that it was just the cat we saw before at the meadow. But the spell of the moment was broken. It looks like it has stopped raining. I nodded and we set off again. The road was wet and dirty now, and we had to be careful not to slip and fall somewhere. And as we were slowly and carefully treading, there was an awkward silence between us. Well, are you surprised about that? Because I'm not. It wasn't as if we hadn't anything to say all of a sudden. more like we were immersed in our own thoughts. I looked around and again I realized that this is probably the last time I will ever see these places that I like so much. I wish I could stay. Well, you actually can. It's not like they told you must go. It's sad that we often wish for things that we cannot have, even though it's just simple things. Simple things like staying in place where we live our whole life, or having someone who would love us. I looked at Erin, who was walking a few steps in front of me. At once her leg slipped and she started to fall backwards. Without thinking, I reached out with my hand to catch her and almost fell too.
Thanks. I don't know where I could get clean clothes if I fell right now.
I looked at Erin and she looked at me and we both started to laugh. The heavy atmosphere around us since we left the cave where we had hidden from the rain was blown away all at once by our laughter. We started to talk once more and the journey was much nicer. Finally, we arrived at a glade hidden in the forest where, apart from the grass, there was a small lake. There was also a small rock from out of which a small waterfall filled into the lake. So, what do you think?
Well, it's really nice here,
answered Erin, and she jumped into the grass, which the sun had apparently dried of the rain.
Finally, I can take a break.
Looks like it didn't rain too much here. I sat beside her and looked at the sky. Or maybe it didn't rain here at all, judging from how the grass was so dry. The afternoon sun was still nicely warm, but the ambient shadows from the trees were slowly becoming longer. I lay down on the grass, basked in the sun, and it just felt nice. You aren't used to walking much, are you? I turned my head to Erin, who was lying beside me.
Well, you're right, but don't worry, I'll manage somehow.
She replied, stretched her arms behind her head and then let them leisurely lay there. For a while I looked at her as she was watching the sky. Her chest was rising and falling and you could see... And where do you look, man? And you could see that she was still a little bit breathless from the long walk. She looked so pretty. At first glance and even the second she looks like a normal girl, but... Again this strange feeling. Once again I felt as if I knew her from long ago, and yet I couldn't remember if I ever met her before. It was as if something was drawing me towards her. I felt as if my long-lost love had returned to me after many years, even though I knew that the only girl I've ever loved before left this planet. A few days ago. Erin, as if she suddenly realized that I was looking at her, turned her head with a smile at me.
I wouldn't have thought that lying in the grass could feel so nice. I could lie here for ages.
So would I. Probably, if the ground wasn't so cold at night.
Well, what can you do? At least we can enjoy it while we are still here.
Arya turned her gaze back to the sky and I did the same. The sky was much cleaner than usual, almost without all the usual scars on the shield in places of high load, and you could almost forget what would inevitably happen to the planet's sun. I sighed.
What is it?
Asked Arn. Oh, okay, that's nice. What is it? I just realized how much I will miss all the things around us. I just realized.
You really love it here, don't you?
I didn't have to answer her. I knew that Arin understood me. Suddenly, I felt that she grabbed my hand, as if she was trying to comfort me. The warmth of her hand was pleasant, and I felt as if it was spreading across my entire body, and with it, all of my fears were vanishing. There was also a feeling of connection that came with this place, and it seemed to me that even if I went to the other side of the universe, that even then I would always carry a piece of this place with me. Thanks.
Too bad I can't do more for you.
And so we later, hand in hand while watching the sun slowly set. After some time we moved to a nearby tree, leaned against its trunk and watched the night sky. Erin was slowly getting tired and eventually she fell asleep with her head on my shoulder. I can't remember when exactly, but after some time I fell asleep too. When I woke up, it was already late afternoon. She's still there, luckily. As I moved, Erin woke up too, and drowsily began scratching her eyes.
Is it morning already?
It looks like it has been for quite a while. I stood up and stretched my body. I felt so much better than I did yesterday, as if the sleep scared away the bits of sadness left in me. Suddenly, I heard a stomach rumbling beside me.
You don't have something more to eat by any chance?
Asked Erin with hope in her voice. I think there's still something left there. I opened my bag and moments later we were eating the remaining food I had packed.
Somehow it tastes better today than it did yesterday,
said Erin with a full mouth sometime after we started eating. Well, that would probably be because we haven't eaten anything since yesterday noon. Food just tastes better when you're hungry, I laughed. Arya just nodded and continued to eat with delight. It didn't take long until all the food was gone. Luckily, both of us had enough. After a short rest, Arya asked,
Could you tell me why you came here to say farewell? I hope you don't mind me asking you.
Don't worry, I don't mind. I thought about her question. It's only been a few years since I found this place and I'm not really sure why I had taken a liking for it so quickly. At that time, my girlfriend broke up with me and it was announced that we would have to leave this planet in the next years. Maybe it was thanks to this place being far away from all of that and there was a beautiful tranquility that passed into me. All of those things didn't seem important here and I was finally forgetting all of my worries and just enjoyed the atmosphere here. Eventually, when all of those things came to pass, I kept coming here just to rest from when I had done something difficult. I looked at the sky for some time and then I stood up. Well, what can we do? It's time to get back. Erin got up too and dusted herself off.
Too bad, everything has to end eventually.
And so we slowly started to walk all the way back. After a few steps, Erin shyly asked,
Would you mind if I hold your hand?
Of course you can. Instead of answering, I offer her. Of course you can. Instead of answering, I offer her my hand. Let's go with that. I guess now is the time when she needs someone, so she won't feel alone. Erin grabbed it and I felt as if she was shaking. But that stopped after a while and I was glad that I could do something for her in return. And so we slowly walked hand in hand until we got to the crossroads, near the playground where we met. It looks like it's time to say farewell. I turned with a heavy heart to Erin. Why? Why would you say farewell? God damn it! I looked into her eyes with a sad smile and again I felt as if I knew her from a long time ago. Erin too smiled sadly, and it seemed to me as if there was fear in her eyes. At that moment, my communicator started to beep, and as if that sound had broken some spell, I realized why Erin looked so familiar all the time. Without letting my eyes off her, I accepted the call. I didn't need to look to know who was calling. Sorry, Mom. I decided to stay here. And then I hung up. Because I understood that the one standing from me wasn't an ordinary girl, and that the fear in her eyes came from loneliness. In front of me, there was Erin. The planet I had a good feeling here. The planet where I had spent all of my life and loved wholeheartedly. I embraced her. She started to cry, and in her eyes was no more fear, but instant happiness that she would not stay alone. Thanks, was all that she was able to say while sobbing. In the end, Mom understood. She too liked this planet, as do most people from here. I was glad that I could stay in this place that I loved so much. And as for Erin, she had always liked the people who lived here, but after the day we spent together, her feelings towards me changed into something more. But that's another story. good and yes! On the first attempt! Yeah! That's great. Good choices. Oh my! Broken Sky it was. Lunaen creator. Ah. I feel complete. And actually in a situation like this, I would probably do the same. No, I would do the same. Not probably, I would do the same. I have a feeling like that. Well, it was nice. Broken Sky, hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next game. Bye.